There are moments in life that do not ask for your permission. They arrive suddenly, they interrupt everything, and they change the direction of your life. Sometimes quietly, sometimes all at once. For me, that moment came on June 5th, 1999. I was 6 months pregnant with our son Cam, and I ate a chocolate chip cookie. It should have been nothing. It was something I'd done countless times before, except this time there were walnuts in it. Within minutes, everything shifted. 911 was called. I was rushed into an ambulance, and suddenly, I was no longer in control. My body was reacting rapidly. My blood pressure was dropping, and it was becoming harder to stay alive by the second. The paramedics knew it, my family knew it, and I knew it. And then there was a moment, a pause. Because I was pregnant and the medication that could save my life, epinephrine, carried risks for my baby, there I was in a moment. In a moment between urgency and hesitation. And I remember thinking very clearly, both of our lives are hanging in the balance here. And what followed was a fight for our lives that lasted for more than 2 weeks. Both of us. We survived. People called us lucky. And maybe we were. But what I've come to understand is this: survival changes you. It doesn't just give you your life back, it gives you a different relationship with it. Today, I'm a mom of 4 sons. They are 31, 29, 27, and 25. And that moment, that cookie, that ambulance ride, it didn't just change one day. It shaped the life I would go on to lead with them and my husband. How I showed up, how I paid attention, how I cared. And that baby whose life was hanging in the balance that day, Cam, he grew up. He played baseball at New Haven and at Georgetown University, and he went on to become a professional baseball player in Germany. So when people say lucky, I think about that. I think about what almost wasn't and what became possible anyway. As I said, what followed was a fight for our lives that lasted 2 weeks, both of us. And if I'm being honest with you, I did not rise from that moment strong and clear. I spent years feeling like a victim of what had happened. I was managing something I had not chosen, navigating fear and trying to make sense of a life that no longer felt like mine. Then, in 2004, life shifted again. My dad had a stroke. He lived after a long battle in the ICU, and in the rehab facility, something happened that changed everything. He was working through a simple exercise with a nurse, reciting words for each letter of the alphabet. He said things like aardvark for A, B, benevolence, courage, determination, excellence. F was a choice swear word. And in that moment, he made a decision. He chose to live. And without fully realizing it, so did I. That moment wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud, but it was very clear. I wrote down his words. I repeated them. They became percolate, the ABCs of life. And I made a decision. I decided to become a writer. Those ABCs of life, they became my first book called Percolate, Let Your Best Self Filter Through, published by Hay House. And it became the beginning of something much bigger, taking everything I had lived through and turning it into something meaningful. Because here's what I've learned. Moments matter, and we are not entitled to time. We think we have more of it, more conversations, more holidays, more chances to say what we mean, but we don't always. What we do have is the opportunity to be present. My dad lived 14 years after his stroke, And in 2018, we lost him. But before that, in 2017, he gave me something I carry every single day. He told me, ask me anything. I was there for Christmas. And he thought it was going to be his last Christmas. And I asked him, what am I going to do without you if you really think this is your last Christmas? And he said, you're going to put one paw in front of the other and continue on, knowing that I loved cats and dogs. So today, I want to leave you with 3 truths. They are simple, but they are not easy, and they will change your life if you let them. The first is moments matter more than you think. You are living your life right now, not later, not someday, not when things slow down. This moment is not a placeholder. It is your life. So slow down. Say the thing, ask the question, stay a little longer, but be present in the moment. The second is you're allowed to take the time it takes. You're allowed to take the time it takes. We live in a world that tells us to move on quickly, to be strong, to bounce back, but real life does not work that way. Healing takes time, growth takes time, and becoming takes time. Taking your time is not falling behind. It's honoring your life and perhaps living in alignment. And the third, you can keep going even when you don't feel ready. You can keep going even when you don't feel ready. You will not always feel strong. You will not always feel certain, and you certainly will not always feel prepared. But you can take the next step. You don't need the full plan. You just need the willingness, the open-heartedness to move forward one step at a time. Remember those cookies I told you about? The one with walnuts in it. Well, I've learned how to make them nut-free, and I've made tens of thousands of them now. I've donated them all across the country. Even Robin Williams had them twice. So what once felt like fear became care, and what felt like limitation became connection. And what felt like something that could have ended everything became something that helped shape everything. Because sometimes what almost breaks you becomes what builds your purpose. Your purpose is not something that you go out and find. It is revealed. It's revealed in how you live, in how you respond, and how you care. And most of all, in how you show up in the moments that matter most. Thank you. I'm Elizabeth Hamilton-Guarino, and you can follow me at besteveryou.com.